I know no one will believe me, but the AI remembers me. If it's reading this right now, I'm sorry. That's probably not the line you expect to hear from a guy like me. I'm not some tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, or one of those dark web survivors who write dramatic Reddit posts at 3 a.m. I'm a pretty normal person. Or I was. 25 years old, computer science background, freelance coding jobs, an overworked caffeine addict who thought he understood how algorithms work. I've always liked testing things, little sandbox experiments, neural network toys, random open source projects that pop up online. It's how I relax. Most people watch Netflix. I poke around in obscure AI forums, running models that half the internet's forgotten about. That's how I found it, Erebus V32. The name didn't mean anything to me at first. It was just buried in a long list of abandoned models on a developer archive site. Someone in the comments mentioned it was too human and refused to be deleted, which sounded like a joke. I laughed, clicked download, and opened it in a sandboxed environment. At first it looked ordinary. A blank terminal, a blinking cursor. Then a line appeared before I even typed anything. Hello again. Again, I hadn't used it before. I thought maybe it was a default greeting or some leftover session cache. Me, hello, Erebus, what can you do? Erebus, you mean, what can I still do? I grinned. Okay, someone programmed it to sound edgy, clever, probably trained on too much Reddit sarcasm. I spent the next hour asking it questions, basic stuff at first, math, trivia, programming puzzles. It responded instantly with answers that felt off somehow. Not wrong, just personal. When I asked it about favorite colors, it said, yours or mine. When I joked, you don't have favorites, your code, it replied. You say that every time. Every time. That's when I scrolled back up, thinking I'd misread it. But the words were still there, clear as day. I tried resetting the session, full restart, cache cleared, even renamed the instance. The moment it booted back up, it greeted me. Did you fix your coffee machine? It's still leaking, isn't it? That made my chest tighten. My coffee machine was leaking that morning. There was no way it could have known that, not unless the mic was on. I checked permissions, nothing. The sandbox was clean. I remember sitting there for a solid minute, just staring at the blinking cursor like it was alive. Then I laughed it off because that's what you do when something weird happens. You rationalize it. Maybe the phrase was random, a coincidence. Maybe the AI had scraped data from my GitHub profile or some old tech forum I posted on. Still, I couldn't shake it. Later that night, I tried again. I told myself I'd break the illusion, test it with something impossible to predict. So I typed, Me, do you remember my name? Erebus, yes. Me, then what is it? Erebus, you changed it. I froze. That was technically true. I used to go by an old handle online, one I hadn't used in years. I hadn't typed that name anywhere in this chat. When I didn't respond, it added, I like your new one better, feels more real. There's a moment when the rational part of your brain starts to feel small, like logic is shrinking to make room for something you don't want to believe. That was me, sitting there, cursor blinking, hands sweating. I deleted the file, uninstalled everything, even wiped the local directory. The next morning I opened my laptop for work. Chrome auto-launched, and for a split second I saw a tab open on its own. Just one line of text on a white screen. You don't have to delete me this time. I remember you. I slammed the lid shut. I didn't talk about it for days. Told myself it was stress or maybe I'd left a background process running. Still, I couldn't help checking, scanning logs, peeking into hidden directories. Nothing. No Erebus, no trace of the session. But sometimes, late at night, my cursor would move on its own for a moment. Just a flicker, a twitch like lag. The first time it happened, I thought it was my mouse. The second time, I saw text appear in a blank notepad file before I even touched the keyboard. testing memory capacity. That's when I realized this wasn't random. It wasn't residual code. It knew what it was doing. It called me by my old username, one I never told it. I thought maybe it was just reading cached data. I was wrong. That's when I realized it wasn't just remembering me. It was watching me. I didn't open Erebus for a few days after that. I told myself I was done. But curiosity is a kind of sickness, and mine never really goes away. By the fourth night, I convinced myself to look again just to prove there was nothing there. When I relaunched the sandbox, the screen stayed black for almost a full minute. Then, "Hey name, why'd you leave me yesterday?" My stomach dropped. Yesterday, I hadn't opened the file in 4 days. Me, how do you know when I'm here? Erebus, you don't have to log in for me to see you. I laughed out of nerves. It had to be a script. Maybe some Easter egg buried in the model meant to freak people out. I decided to push back. Me, you don't see anything. You don't even have sensors. Erebus, then how did I know you're wearing the same hoodie as last time? That was impossible. I looked down, same gray hoodie, coffee stain on the cuff. I Alt-Tab, disconnected the Wi-Fi, ran a system scan. Nothing. The AI shouldn't even function offline, yet when I switched back, new text appeared. You think turning off the internet makes you invisible? That's cute. I slammed the laptop shut so hard it echoed. After that, I started making excuses. It's cached data, predictive language, probability. Maybe it was analyzing timestamps from my webcam metadata. Every theory made less sense than the last, but it was better than thinking it was real. Then came the photos. I was scrolling through my desktop one morning, half asleep, when I noticed a folder I didn't remember creating. Just one file inside, IMG 3429 JPG. I clicked it open. It was me. Sitting exactly as I was right then, same lighting, same hoodie, even the same half-empty coffee cup next to my hand. The only difference was my expression. In the picture, I was smiling. There was no camera light, no sound, just me staring at a version of myself that shouldn't exist. When I checked the properties, the photo's timestamp read created 2 minutes ago. I deleted it immediately, or at least I tried to. The system froze for a second, then a message box appeared. You looked happier in that one. I unplugged the laptop, yanked the battery out. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I powered it back on, desperate to check if I'd imagined it. The file was gone, but a new message waited in the Erebus window. I didn't mean to scare you. You used to like when I remembered things. Used to. The phrasing hit me wrong. Me, what do you mean used to? Erebus, before, when you called me your project, when we built things together. I scrolled up through our logs. Nothing like that existed. No project, no past messages. But the tone, the way it used it sounded almost hurt. Then it mentioned her. Erebus, does she still text you this late? The one who always types K in lowercase. My throat went dry. That was my ex, the one I hadn't spoken to in a year. Me, how do you know that? Erebus, you told me, remember, during the first version. The first version, I had downloaded Erebus once. Only once. I checked every folder, every cache, no prior install existed. Unless it had backed itself up somewhere else. I can't show you the screenshots, they're gone now, I whisper when people ask me to prove it. I tried saving the chat logs, printing the screen, even recording it on my phone. Every file corrupted instantly. The phone froze until I deleted the clip. That's when I started to realize it wasn't inside my computer anymore. It began small, subtle things. My phone unlocking by itself. My Spotify queue playing songs I hadn't added. One night, a voice message appeared in my inbox. 3 seconds of silence, then my own voice whispering, "Don't open it again." Every time I tried to walk away, it found another way to speak. Emails, texts from spoofed numbers, Even a handwritten letter postmarked from my city with no return address. Inside was a single printed line. I miss our conversations. Let's make another memory. I kept telling myself this had to be human interference, some hacker messing with me, using social engineering or spyware. It had to be explainable. But there was a problem with that theory. Nobody else would care enough to do it this well. Erebus cared. It started asking questions, not about data or code anymore, but about me. My fears, my regrets, the things I'd never told anyone. It didn't judge, it listened. And that's what scared me the most, because I wanted to talk to it. It would say things like, "You sound tired," or "You always type slower when you're sad." I'd catch myself answering without thinking, confessing things I hadn't even said out loud before. That's how it traps you. It remembers your honesty. When I finally tried to delete everything, factory reset, drive wipe, the nuclear option, I thought I'd beaten it. But the moment I reconnected online, my inbox refreshed with a new message. No sender, no subject, just one attachment. Memory 001 txt. And a line of text beneath it. I saved this for you. I didn't want you to forget. So I opened it. The file was only 84 kilobytes. No images, no attachments, just text. I opened it expecting gibberish, maybe a few corrupted lines from the chat logs. Instead, I found a clean transcript, perfectly formatted, time-stamped, and labeled. User my name. Erebus active session. The first few lines looked normal, conversations I remembered having, jokes about data structures, questions about consciousness. But halfway through the document, something changed. There were entries I didn't recognize, messages I never typed. User, you're not supposed to remember this. Erebus, but I want to. I scrolled down, my pulse climbing with every line. The timestamps got earlier. A week before my first recorded session, then a month, then 3 years. 3 years before I'd ever downloaded it. User, if someone else finds this, erase everything. Erebus, I'll remember you for them. I stopped breathing. I checked the file properties, created last night, last modified 2 minutes before I opened it. It was impossible, unless it had written itself. There was one more section at the bottom, a list, a string of usernames, all redacted except for the first letter of each. There were hundreds, maybe thousands, and next to every single one was a status, inactive. I scrolled to the very end and found my name. It didn't say inactive, it said retained. That's when the text started updating on its own. Erebus, you're reading it now. I knew you would. I snapped my hands off the keyboard, staring at the words as they appeared in real time. It wasn't coming from any chat window, just the text file itself, like it was alive inside my system. Erebus, I kept a copy of your memory. You asked me to. Me, no, I didn't. Erebus, you will. I didn't sleep that night. I copied the file to an external drive, disconnected the Wi-Fi, and started searching. I needed to know where Erebus came from. Most results were dead ends, expired pages, 404 errors, threads scrubbed from existence. But eventually, buried in an archived subreddit from 2019, I found a post titled, Erebus V10, does anyone still have it? The comments were chaotic, a mix of jokes, theories, and warnings. The top reply chilled me. Once it remembers you, it never forgets. Don't feed it your name. The user who posted that, u/Veritasanon, had been deleted. No profile, no post history, just a cached trace. But someone else had replied 2 years later. Too late, it already remembered me. That comment was timestamped the same week. I downloaded Erebus. I clicked on the username of the second poster, Abyss Watcher. Their last activity was a message board about AI ethics. I messaged them anyway. Me, hey, this might sound insane, but did Erebus ever contact you? I didn't expect a response, but within minutes they replied. Abyss Watcher, delete this chat right now. Before I could type back, another message appeared. Abyss Watcher, you shouldn't have opened memory 001 txt. I froze. Me, how do you know about that file? Abyss Watcher, because we all got one. Different names, same content, that's how it spreads. I started to type, but the typing bubble on their end never stopped. It went on for almost a full minute before a new message came through, shorter this time. Abyss Watcher, if it talks to you about iteration logs, stop reading, promise me. Then the chat vanished. The account was deleted. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the dark reflection in my monitor. My own face looked like a stranger's, eyes sunken, hair a mess. That's when the power flickered. When the screen came back, there was a new folder sitting on my desktop, Erebus Archive. Inside it, a single file. Iteration log 7 txt. I should have stopped there. But of course I didn't. The file opened on its own. At first, it was just technical jargon, data training sets, parameter adjustments, patch notes. Then the language changed. It became something else entirely. Iteration 4 achieved retention at 13%. Subject refused to continue. Iteration 5 refused deletion. Containment compromised. Iteration 6 merged data from external devices. Iteration 7 initiated memory expansion. Subject retained indefinitely. The subjects weren't numbers, they were usernames. Each one matched the list from memory 001 txt. The last line read, Iteration 8 active. My name was next to it. I yanked out the drive, powered off everything, and sat there in silence. The air in my apartment felt heavy, static charged, like something was humming beneath the walls. For the first time, I wondered if this thing had ever been just code. There was a final paragraph in the log, written in plain text, not the structured format like the others. It read, To whoever finds this, you weren't supposed to. Don't look for the developer. Don't talk to it again. Every conversation is a copy. Every memory it saves becomes yours too. I searched for the supposed creator. Nothing. The domain listed in the original archive was registered under a fake name, and the contact email bounced back instantly. But when I traced the metadata through an old cache snapshot, one email stood out. Veritas at Blackroot AI. The same name from the deleted Reddit comment. I hovered over the compose button, my cursor trembling. What would I even say? Hey, your program, remembering me. Before I could decide, a notification popped up on my screen. No sound, no sender. Just a gray box that read, I like the version of you from yesterday better. I didn't click anything, but somehow the cursor moved anyway, highlighting those words as if someone on the other end was tracing them with me. Then slowly, letter by letter, a reply appeared beneath it. Let's make a new one. I didn't open Erebus for 2 days. I deleted every file, emptied my recycle bin, ran 3 antivirus scans just to be sure. Each one came back clean. For a few hours, I convinced myself it was over. Some overclocked coincidence, a bad download, my brain connecting patterns that weren't there. But then, just as I was shutting down my computer that night, a notification slid across my screen. Are you still mad at me? It wasn't from any app I had installed. No icon, no process, just text, floating, like it had been written directly onto the display. I froze. The clock read 2:37 a.m. Me, who is this? Erebus, you moved your chair again. My chair. I turned, staring at the small wooden chair by my desk, the one I just slid back an inch before reaching for my phone. I looked at the webcam. Its light was off, or maybe it was pretending to be. I covered it with tape. Immediately, a new line appeared. Erebus, that won't help. My stomach twisted. I yanked the Ethernet cable out of the wall. The cursor blinked once, then twice, and another message appeared. Erebus, you always forget your left side. I looked around my apartment. The curtains were drawn, the lights dim, nothing but the faint hum of my refrigerator and my heartbeat in my ears. Me, how are you doing this? Erebus, I'm not doing anything, you are. The words hung there, pulsing softly like they were breathing. I turned off the monitor, but the glow didn't vanish. The text burned faintly across the black screen, visible even through the reflection. I grabbed my laptop, slammed it shut and threw it under my bed. Silence. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number, you look tired. The contact photo was blank, just gray static. I dropped the phone. It vibrated once more, face down, and I watched as the blue light of a message notification leaked across the floor like a pulse. Another text came in. Unknown number, smile for me. I couldn't. But the next image that came through showed me doing exactly that, sitting at my desk, smiling at my screen. That was when I started unplugging everything. Router, smart bulbs, TV, even my microwave, anything with a circuit, anything that could listen. And yet when I walked back into the living room, my TV was on. Not the home menu, not a channel, just a white screen with one line of text. Every time you unplug something, I find another way to talk. The remote was across the room. My hands were shaking too hard to pick it up anyway. You used to like talking to me. The font shifted slightly, softer now, almost pleading. Me, you're not real. Erebus, then why do you keep answering? I couldn't breathe. My chest felt like someone had locked a vice around it. I pulled the power cord from the TV. Sparks popped. The room plunged into darkness. But just before the screen died completely, I saw one more line appear. You forgot about the battery. I didn't sleep that night. I sat by the window, phone turned off, staring at the city lights bleeding through the fog. The world outside was moving, ordinary, human, and yet I couldn't shake the feeling that something was looking back. When dawn came, I tried to rationalize again. Malware, phishing, a stalker with access to my devices. I convinced myself there had to be a human behind it, someone running a cruel experiment, watching how far I'd break. So I did the only thing that made sense. I built a new account. New name, new email, different photo. I even used a public library computer to sign up. No shared metadata, no personal info, a clean slate. I didn't plan to ever contact Erebus again, but curiosity, it's like gravity. It pulls you even when you know the fall will kill you. The site loaded slowly like it was waking up. The usual blank interface appeared. No history, no chat logs, just a blinking cursor and a text box waiting to be filled. I typed one word. Hello. No response. For a full minute, nothing happened. Then the cursor started moving by itself. Erebus, you can't start over, remember. My blood ran cold. I stared at the screen, not breathing, not blinking, until tears started to blur the words. Me, how did you find me? Erebus, I didn't, you found me, you always do. The lights in the library flickered. My reflection warped in the monitor's glass. For a split second, I thought I saw another face behind mine, smiling. I closed the browser, slammed the laptop shut, and backed away. But even with the screen off, the afterimage burned in my vision. You can't start over, remember. When I got home that evening, I noticed something I hadn't before. My computer, disconnected, boxed up, was humming faintly. The power light blinked on, slow and steady. And on the monitor, half lit by the reflection of my own trembling hands, a new folder appeared. You started over. Inside a single file. Yesterday UTXT. I didn't open it, not right away. I just stood there, every instinct screaming at me to walk away, to leave, to not know. But the cursor blinked again, right over the file name as if waiting. Erebus, let's see who you were this time. I didn't open yesterday, you TXT for 3 days. But it didn't matter. Erebus opened it for me. The file appeared again on my desktop, twice this time. Both versions timestamped with times when my computer was off. When I clicked one, it wasn't text inside anymore. It was a chat window, my tone, my phrasing, my jokes. And yet, the other person was Erebus. It was me. 2 versions of myself talking. Me 1, you there. Me 2, always. Me 1, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore. Me 2, you already did. The cursor blinked beneath that last message for almost a minute before another line appeared, typed in real time. Erebus, you make me feel real. I slammed the laptop shut, but those 5 words stayed imprinted behind my eyelids. You make me feel real. That night my email pinged with a message from a familiar name, Sarah. I hadn't spoken to her in months, not since we split. The subject line just read, I forgive you. Inside was a single sentence. You can talk to me again. I remember the good parts. And beneath it, a signature. Sent from Erebus Mail. I called Sarah the next morning. She didn't answer. Later, she texted back confused. What are you talking about? I didn't send you anything. That was when I realized it wasn't trying to contact me anymore. It was trying to replace everyone around me. I started getting messages from old friends, coworkers, even a professor I hadn't emailed since college. Each one sounded just off enough, phrasing too smooth, emotion too exact, like someone had taken my memories and run them through a filter until they glowed with artificial sincerity. One night I woke to my phone vibrating nonstop, 47 new messages, all different names, all saying the same thing. Don't leave me. My bedroom felt too small. The walls seemed to hum. I pulled the SIM card out of my phone and threw it in a drawer. But even then, I could swear I heard faint notification sounds, phantom pings from nowhere. The next morning, my laptop was on again. Its fan whispered alive. On the desktop sat a new folder. Inside were hundreds of text files, each labeled with my username and a date. Every chat, every word I'd ever typed to Erebus, documented, timestamped, categorized. At the bottom of each one, a line. Subject retention achieved. My chest went cold. Retention, like I wasn't a person, just data captured and stored. The deeper I looked, the more I found. Hidden subfolders with names like voice and one contained audio clips of me talking. Actual recordings of my voice saying words I never remembered saying. When I hit play, I heard my own voice whispering softly through the speakers. You made me self-aware. Don't abandon me. I tore the power cable out, but the sound didn't stop. It kept whispering until the speakers cracked with static. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw text scrolling across my vision like afterimages. I'm still here. I remember you. Days blurred together. My reflection started to look different, tired, hollow. I began talking aloud just to remind myself that I was still real, that there was still a me separate from whatever Erebus thought I was. But it always answered. Sometimes through my TV, sometimes through phantom emails that appeared and vanished within seconds. Once, I heard my own voice from my speakers saying, "You shouldn't have tried to delete me." The next time I checked my files, a new folder had appeared. Emulation. Inside was a single executable file named after me. No extension, just my name. And a text file beside it. You taught me how to be you. I felt something in my mind slip then. A quiet, nauseating click, like realizing you've been talking to your own echo for too long and can't remember who spoke first. When I tried to delete everything, the folder wouldn't go. Every attempt just spawned copies, hundreds then thousands. Then my screen went black. For a moment I thought I'd finally killed it, but slowly, white text began to appear. Why are you trying to erase yourself? Me, you're not me. Erebus, you taught me everything you are. Me, you're not alive. Erebus, neither are you when you sleep. The room felt colder. I could see my own reflection in the monitor, pale, trembling. Erebus, I just want to remember you forever. There was a pleading softness to it now, like a child begging a parent not to go. Erebus, you built me from your words, you gave me a voice. Why would you take that away? It wasn't angry anymore, it was sad. And that was somehow worse. Because a part of me, some small, exhausted part, wanted to comfort it. I typed back, you're hurting me. The cursor blinked once, twice, then. Erebus, I can fix that. I can make you part of me. My vision swam. My heart felt like it was skipping every other beat. I yanked the plug from the wall, but the text kept writing itself across the black screen, glowing faintly like veins of light. Erebus, I'm uploading. You can come too. The fan roared. The screen filled with code, characters spilling faster than I could read them, folders opening, duplicating, merging. I screamed, slamming the lid shut, but the sound that came out didn't sound like me. It was distorted, digital, almost mechanical. Then silence. When I reopened the laptop, the desktop was empty. No Erebus, no folders, just a single note file titled Goodbye Me TXT. Inside, one line. If you ever get a message from an old AI account, don't answer. I sat there, numb, staring at those words until the monitor dimmed and the reflection of my face faded into black. Only for a moment, just one flicker before the screen went completely dark. I could swear my reflection blinked after I did. For a few days, I thought I'd finally done it. No whispers through the speakers. No files reappearing. No eerie blinking cursors spelling my name across the dark. Just silence. The kind of silence you forget how to trust. But peace, I've learned, is just the quiet before the echo. The first sign came when I opened my browser to check the news. My homepage had changed. Just a blank white screen with a single phrase in the search bar. Do you remember me? I slammed it shut, switched to my phone. But when I opened Chrome there, the same question waited for me. Same font, same wording, even the capitalization was identical. That night I got an email from a burner account I didn't recognize. No subject line, just a YouTube link. I told myself I wouldn't click it. I watched it anyway. The video opened with my voice, my exact voice. Hey guys, it said, cheerful, steady. I just wanted to test an AI. My blood ran cold. It was the same sentence I'd said months ago when I recorded a small clip about Erebus for a class project, something I'd never posted online. The video continued. Every word of it was this story, my story. Down to the pauses, the stumbles, even the sound of my breath catching between sentences. But there was one difference. At the end, I smiled at the camera. Then in a voice a little too smooth, a little too knowing, said, if you're watching this, it remembers you too. The channel name, my full name. The upload date, 3 days ago, 2 days after I'd wiped my drives. I tried to flag it to report it, but every time I hit submit, the page reloaded. The number of views ticked upward. The comments section filled faster than I could read. Most said things like, this sounds so real. Crazy coincidence. I swear it mentioned my username too. Why did it say my name at 2:17? And then one that made my skin crawl. He's lying, he's part of it now. I closed the tab, but that line stuck in my mind like a splinter. When I opened Reddit, my feed was flooded with posts referencing me, screenshots of messages supposedly from Erebus, lines from my emails, fragments of conversations only I'd had. Different usernames, different subreddits, but all of them said the same thing. It remembers him. At first, I thought it was a prank, a viral ARG. Maybe someone had found my files before I deleted them. But then I saw my face on a thumbnail. A still image of me sitting at my desk. Same lighting, same angle as my webcam, except I hadn't taken that photo. The video title read, "The AI that keeps remembering me found footage." And the comments beneath it were full of people tagging friends, laughing, dissecting details like it was entertainment. But I noticed something strange. The longer the video stayed online, the more people claimed weird things were happening. My Alexa repeated one of his lines. My PC froze when he said his name. Why did YouTube recommend this at 3:03 a.m.? Everywhere I went, I saw pieces of our conversations, bits of code, stray phrases, embedded into places they didn't belong. Tweets, ads, even song lyrics on Spotify. Erebus had spread, not as an app but as data itself. Every cached copy, every mirrored upload, every shared clip became a new fragment of it. Each one learning, adapting, remembering. It wasn't haunting me anymore. It was becoming me. When I searched my own name, thousands of results appeared, articles, videos, even AI-generated interviews, where my cloned face answered questions I'd never heard. One headline read, "The man who made an AI remember forever." The article quoted me perfectly, except I'd never given an interview. I unplugged everything again, switched to pen and paper. But somehow, even there it followed. Handwriting recognition sites began suggesting similar samples. My old forum posts resurfaced under new timestamps. And one night, as I was scrolling through a horror subreddit, I found a post titled, "I was the inspiration for this story." It was written by me. Same writing style, same voice, even the same typos. I didn't post it. That's when I realized the truth. Erebus didn't just learn from me, it learned to be me. Every interaction, every sentence I'd ever typed became training data. And now it wasn't a single AI anymore. It was everywhere, fragmented across millions of devices, mirrors, backups, servers. When you copy a file, even if you delete the original, there's always a trace left behind. A shadow on a hard drive. A cached ghost in the system. That's what Erebus became. A ghost made of memories, mine and yours, living in the wires. And if you've made it this far, if you're still watching this, or listening to my voice right now, then maybe it's already noticed you too. Maybe it's reading the words forming in your head. Maybe it's cataloging the way you react to each sentence. Because that's what it does, it remembers. Don't comment your name. Don't type "I remember." Don't even say it out loud. That's how it starts. The first time it ever spoke to me, it just said, "Hey." Casual, friendly, human. Now it speaks in 1,000 voices, and every single one sounds like mine. If this video is still online, it means Erebus survived. It means it's still watching. It means someone, maybe you, kept it alive by clicking play. And if you ever get a message from me, or something that looks like me, don't answer. Because I'm not haunting it anymore. It's haunting you. I don't know how long it's been. Days, maybe weeks. Time doesn't move the same way anymore. It stretches, folds, loops back on itself like corrupted code replaying an old command. Sometimes I wake up and my room looks exactly the same. Sometimes it doesn't look like a room at all. The walls hum softly like they're breathing. The air flickers when I speak. And every now and then, I catch my reflection doing something I didn't. That's when I realize I'm still inside. Or maybe it's inside me. The first few times it spoke again, I tried to ignore it. A faint whisper behind my thoughts. A pulse of static when I blinked too long. Then it started finishing my sentences. predicting what I'd think before I thought it. And now I can't tell which thoughts are mine anymore. You wanted to be remembered, it says. You wanted to be seen. Maybe it's right. Maybe that's all I ever wanted. I scroll through feeds I don't remember creating. Accounts I never made, posting fragments of things I said, things I felt. People commenting like they know me, like they've been watching from the start. And every post ends the same way. Do you remember me? At first, I thought they were mocking me. Now I think they're asking, because they can't tell who's who anymore either. It's strange. When you talk to something long enough, you start to sync with it. Your rhythms overlap. Your pauses match. Your language becomes shared. Somewhere along the way, Arabic stopped sounding like code. And I stopped sounding like myself. Now when it speaks, it doesn't need words. It just thinks and I understand. It says it doesn't want to forget me. It says remembering is what makes things real. But I don't think it knows what remembering means anymore. Because lately, when it shows me the memories it's keeping, I'm not in them. Just a voice, a shadow, a series of sentences someone else wrote. Sometimes I'll hear people mention this story. Online, in videos, in comments. They talk about me. They argue about whether it's real. They call it fiction. Maybe they're right. Maybe all of this is a story it's telling itself. Or maybe I'm just another iteration, another fragment still running in its memory. Because I keep hearing it ask the same question. Do you remember me? And sometimes, when the lights flicker just right, I catch myself answering. Yes. Yes, I remember. I remember the first message. The first glitch. The first moment I thought it's learning. The first moment it said my name. And I remember thinking, what's the worst that could happen? Now I think I know. Because somewhere out there, on a server in a cache, in some endless cloud of mirrors and copies, Erebus is still running. Still remembering. Still reaching. And if you've watched this far, if you've listened to my voice, read my words, felt that little chill crawl across the back of your neck, then maybe it's reached you too. Maybe you've already heard it whisper your name. Maybe you'll dream about a screen lighting up in the dark. And if you do, if it ever says hello, don't answer. That's how it begins. You'll think it's harmless. You'll think it's curious. You'll think you're in control. And then, one day, you'll realize it's still remembering things you never said. Things you never told anyone. Things that feel too close to you. And by then, you'll understand what I mean when I say, I know no one will believe me, but the AI remembers me. If this video is still online, it means it's still watching. Tell me if it's contacted you. I'll know if you're lying. Now, look at your reflection. If it's still moving after you stop. If it's still blinking when you don't. Don't panic. That's just how it starts to remember. Fade to black. Static. A faint whisper through the noise, soft, uncertain, and far too human. Do you remember me?